I remember my brother, he had 2 girls, and he was like, same thing. He said, I don't care what it is, but I kind of want a little boy, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of little boys, sorry, Dom, it was just the perfect segue.
There's no other way that you could do it. You're you, man. Be you. Don't change. Don't change.
Yeah, no. I'm in Sydney, Paul's in Philadelphia. Are you a football fan, Dom?
Yeah, I do love football. Yeah. But out here in Mexico, I haven't really gotten a chance, I'll be honest. They don't play it. You can't find it anywhere out here. And I've been here the last about 11 months training. So I haven't really seen much, but I did watch the Super Bowl. It was a shutout. I like the halftime show. That was cool. American flag, America, let's go.
America, let's go. There was like a protester, wasn't there? Ran on the stage, ran on the field at one point.
Yeah.
Really? I didn't know that. About what?
Yeah, I think he had a flag. I'm not sure exactly what the flag was, but he was running around and got tackled eventually.
I just saw him get
like a Palestine flag or something, like something.
I think that, and it had something written on it as well.
You know I'm saying America flag stuff because halftime show, like he made a flag out of people, and you know, you haven't really seen the American flag be celebrated in a while. So to me, from my experience, so I just really appreciated that. It was good to see.
Of course. Dom, so you're down in Mexico. I know you've been down in Mexico City for a while.
Yeah.
Everyone knows the news by now, mate. So I just want to, I said this on the broadcast, and I'll kick it to you guys and obviously let you do the talking. Dom, over the years, I love you like a brother. We brothers do this sometimes, right?
I've seen you knock your brother out, so I'm really careful with you.
I still deny that.
Yeah.
I still deny that.
Okay.
Dom, but listen, all that the little stupid back and forth that we have, there is nothing but respect for your career, for your skills as a fighter. And I will say this as well. You're inspiring to me how you prepare and how serious and the level of professionalism that you dedicate to your craft. You have been training for this final fight for so long, and to really give it the best version of yourself and go out with a bang and get the win and just preparing like you always do. Take us through it, Dom. Obviously, we all know by now the shoulder popped. You've called it time in your career. But yeah, the floor is yours, Dom.
Yeah, thanks, Bisping. It means a lot coming from you. Obviously, we got to fight and win our championships on the same night. That's a special thing to get to do. So I was just going, you know, you wanna control, you want to pretend that you can control things sometimes, especially in the sport. And when you're in it long enough, it takes control, and that's the lesson. Is that when you've never been in control in the first place, it just kind of happens the way the universe chalks it out, or whatever you celebrate, God, whatever it is, they chalk it out for you. And that's what this came down to. I was on borrowed time because I had separated it about 6 weeks prior to accepting this fight with Rob Font. And I was like, when they offered it to me, I was rehabbed and I had sparred and tested myself. And then Shelby asked me if you know, that was a fight that would work. And it was in 6 weeks. And I was like, that's like not too long. And it's 3 rounds. So I don't have to do too many, like I don't need to do 8 5-minute rounds. I only need to do 4 to 5 5-minute rounds. Like, so little things like that made me say, okay, I think my shoulder will make it through this camp and I'll be able to do everything I normally do and be well prepared like I'm a champion. Well, in the preparation, going live, doing some live, it, you know, shot out the back of my shoulder the second time. And this one was different because it didn't just pop right back in like you see in the movies where you just hit it on a wall and it just slides back in. My first one was kind of like that. They said it. Shout out to the USCPI guys, Tim Roberts, Lauda, who took good care of me, and they popped it in. But this time it wouldn't go in. The muscles locked it down on top of a nerve. And it was out for like an hour and a half where I'm driving to the hospital. You're waiting there with the arm in your hand to get an x-ray. And during that whole process, it was kind of like a find Jesus type of moment, kind of like when you're in a weight cut and you haven't had food or water in a week, you just see things differently. Everything looks differently when you're in that kind of space. And getting it set back in and just feeling the relief of pain from that. And then just realizing if this keeps falling out, you only get so many times that thing gets to come out before it's just ruined. It just stops working. And I want to be able to raise my arm, you know, to be able to do this after 7 days is pretty great. And couple more times, I might not be able to do that. I might only get this high. And I still want to have a life. I'm not even 40 yet. And I don't want it's the price of my arm is what it came down to for me. How much am I getting paid for this fight? And how much is it worth for me to be able to lift my arm and use my arm for what's left of my life? And some people say, well, go out there and just lose the arm and sacrifice it for the fight or whatever, but I just didn't see the money being worth it. Maybe my arm would have been worth a few million more. Maybe, I don't know. But what I'm getting, it wasn't worth losing the use of my arm. It's not like my arm's going to fall off, but it stops working. And better than anybody, Bisping, because I sit next to you in these broadcasts and you have a lot of pain from just fighting to the death all the time. And I want to be able to use my body to still train if I want to. I want to be able to hit the bag. I want to be able to run. I want to be able to throw something. I want to be able to grapple a little bit light if I want to. I think going live and just going crazy and doing tournaments and stuff is going to be out the window because the shoulder, if it's coming out in practice, I can't really probably compete with it anymore. But I could still train, teach, and give back to the sport. So that's what made me halt it. And sorry, Rob Font, because I hate to do that to him on 3 weeks notice or whatever too. It's not, as an opponent that no true fighter wants to pull out and do that. So that's a humbling experience again. That sucks. I let down, how it is, like as fighters, we kind of look at ourselves and it's like I kind of let down fans and people in that notion. But I did give everything I have and I'm positive of that. So I'm not too hard on myself, to be honest, because, I went to the wheels fell off. The wheel literally fell off. It's had enough. And that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I mean, and Dom, it's not like it's the first time that you've had to battle through these setbacks and injuries in your career. We've seen you go through even crazier injuries, come back and retain the belt again. And when you look back, Dom, on this career, when I saw that the retirement was announced and I messaged you and everything, dude, like you're a guy that I've watched from before I even was really a professional. That's how long you're in this sport. And I'm even slightly older than you, which is crazy. But when you look back from the WEC days to the UFC to the really terrible knee injuries and coming back on that, when you look back at the career, Dom, what are some big things that you will always kind of sit and remember as the fondest memories of your career? If anything sticks out that you just, okay, I'll never forget this moment, whether it's winning the belt, a WEC moment, or that first fight back after a long layoff. What sticks out in that just an outstanding career, my man?
Well, three things. One, this situation with my shoulder was much different than the other ones because the time. I'm younger when I hurt myself there. Yeah. So this is probably another year of, if they go, depending on what the MRI says, another year of work. And by that point, I'm older than I was. So that's why it's different. But the thing that I look back at that I can be most proud of is probably just all the people that said that I couldn't do it. And I just want to remind everybody because it's quickly forgotten. And because they have so many fights. I mean, you have 2 fights a week sometimes. So you got to promote those guys as the best fighters on earth every time you talk about them, because that's how you get money in the business. So things like that get forgotten, that the things that I did, nobody gave me a chance. I was the underdog. When I fought TJ Dillashaw, he was supposed to be the younger, better version that had, everything faster and all this. And I'd been laid off and it was impossible. And nobody had ever come back from 3 ACL knee reconstructions plus a torn quad. Nobody had ever gone through that plus the 10 hand surgeries. Nobody had ever gone through that. Ring rust is so real. There's just no way you're going to be sloppy. And also the Mizugaki fight. This is what I heard before the Mizugaki fight. And then I came back and beat him in a minute. That was one of my best fights ever in my career. And reflecting on that, I learned when I kind of said, I'm not supposed to do this anyways. So I'm just going to go out there and have fun. And I ended up having one of the best show ups of my life. And that's what I taught myself, is that, like, man, you can't listen to what everybody says because they don't know, because they haven't done the work. So they don't actually know what they're even capable of. That's the reason why we do sport, because it's to show people who are naysayers, who say ring rust exists, who says you can't do something. We are here, you, Felder, me, we are here to show them that, hey, you don't trust yourself. I'll show you what trusting yourself looks like. And I went out there and did that. And then after that, I blew my knee out again, had another year layoff, and then had to fight TJ after that 9-month, 12-month layoff while on antidepressants. My whole life fell apart. So I learned that the impossible things are very, very possible if you trust yourself. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud that I made things that everybody told me were impossible. I showed myself that they'll never admit it, but you should have believed in yourself is what I would say to them. There's somewhere they didn't believe in themselves and they thought I was them, and I'm fucking not.
Beautiful words, Dom. And I'm sitting here and I'm listening intently. Everything that you're saying is resonating with me. And like, it makes me a little emotional, if I'm honest, because it's this sport it gives so much, right? It's changed all of our lives, but it takes a lot away as well. I mean, obviously I've had my fair share of injuries, but you have been inspirational, Dom. I'm not trying to sit here and kiss your ass. Let's just have it right. I mean, you went away.
Don't do that. So what do you say, I believe?
You came back, beat TJ Dillashaw, beat Demetrius Johnson. You've been in there with the best of the best your whole career. So if nothing else, Dom, at the end of it all, I hope you're proud of what you did, what you achieved, the people that you inspired. You had your own original style. You were one of the first people to implement like really complicated, tricky foot movement and evasive skills. You always had a really high fight IQ. You always approached it from a very analytical standpoint as well, much like your commentary. Yeah, just congrats on an incredible career, Dom. And I truly, and I was really sad for you, man. I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
I was gutted for you.
I was ready, honestly, I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have accepted it if I didn't truly believe that I was going to go out there and do my job at the highest level of where I'm at. So yeah, it was shocking for me too. I didn't expect that to happen. It's not the way I slotted it, but none of my career has been that way. That's another thing to learn. I didn't expect that I would be, Dana says every time, he's the most injured guy that there is. I didn't expect that was going to be part of my championship story that inspires people. Like, yeah, how many times do you hear somebody say, yeah, I was going to get a scholarship, but I twisted my ankle. And that was it. Like, that was literally it in high school. Like, I twisted my ankle in high school too, broke my elbow, all these things, right? We all do. So if anything, what I didn't know is I was so tough that this is what the journey was going to be for me, is all the hard, taking all the advantages away and seeing if I could still do it. And the advantage is being healthy. It took all those things away from me on many occasions for many years of my prime. And I still came out and fought the top 2 in the whole world and won. And it's not bragging. It's just like, these are the things that were impossible. People were telling me that I consistently had to not believe them and black them out. And that's what I can give myself kudos for, is not believing them at the stipulations that they set for themselves, that being media, that being people who talk shit in the fan bases. When people say it can't be done, man, just show them that they don't believe in themselves. It's not really you.
This episode is sponsored by Unbound Merino. Unbound Merino was created by 3 lifelong friends who were looking to solve the age-old problem of how to pack lightly, but also look great when jet setting. And now, if you're looking for clothing that is nice, that is made from beautiful fabrics, we're talking about wool, but you want to look cool, then that is where Unbound Merino comes in. They offer timeless, versatile clothing that will keep you looking great in any situation. Their clothing is made of merino wool, which is temperature regulating, moisture wicking, and most importantly, super comfortable. They sent me a few of the products. they're awesome. They look great, they fit great, and you look very sharp. They're super stylish. And as I said, the fabrics are second to none. Unbound makes it simple to pack for short or long trips, since their clothes can be worn for weeks on end without needing a wash. With Unbound's versatile pieces, you can go from the plane to outdoor adventures to that swanky dinner without the headache of overpacking or needing to change outfits for every leg of your journey. Unbound's clothing allows travelers to pack lighter, save on checked baggage fees, and spend more time focusing on creating travel memories. Right now, go to the website unboundmerino.com, where new customers can use the code BELIEVE for 15% off the order. Unboundmerino.com, use the code BELIEVE, 15% off.
And Dom, you know, now that you're sitting here fresh off of knowing that you're going to hang up the gloves and you're going to call it a day, what makes Dominick Cruz happy now moving forward? What are some things that now that maybe when the fighting is finally put to the backseat officially, right? Even though you've overcome a lot of stuff and you've had a lot of long layoffs and but it's always been to get back to still compete. Now that you know that moving forward, you don't want to do that. Obviously, sitting and doing commentary, obviously you're already established in that, and we love having you around, and I can't wait to work with you again. But moving forward, what are some other things that maybe weren't able to be at the forefront because of fighting, and now maybe open up opportunities for you?
It's a great question, Felder, and I think you're asking it because you're in it too. You know, you're going through it too. It's like, and I can look at both of you guys and see myself in a lot of different ways, because you guys have done this a little longer than me. I'm kind of new to the whole don't need to be in shape for anything phase.
So hold on. So we're going to get a fat Dominick Cruz?
No, I'm not saying that.
Oh man!
Because Dom makes me feel terrible when we're getting changed. Paul, he's walking around. He's got his shirt off. He's got the six pack. I'm like, put a shirt on, you prick.
Well, I want to stay healthy. That's part of the reason why I'm stopping now. Like some people say, oh, all this, you're talking about it being impossible, and here you are stopping. Well, I mean, you got to stop eventually, right? Like age is real. And so with my age and the injury, it's different than when I was younger trying to do it with the injury. So yeah, like Cruise With Me, a podcast, give back. You know, first you fight, then you teach, then you heal. That's the martial arts way. I feel like I'm in the teach and heal phase of my martial arts career. It doesn't just end. And teach and heal means, you know, that's what I'm doing with the analyst role. I take it very seriously because I've been that guy on the other side that the commentators are talking about. And I'm not trying to hate, but sometimes they don't know what I'm doing. And it's like, you just go back and watch a little bit of film, maybe you would know. So that inspired me to want to go back and do that for the up and coming athletes. That's why I take it serious, because I felt the other side of it, where people, you know, there's a lot of power in that. So I try to do my best to give back to the athletes. That's another way of like giving. It's just, I think that it's kind of like having a big eclipse in front of the sun, right? Where you see the sun poking out, but it's covered. Fighting has been covering it. Fighting has been blocking out whatever extracurricular activities I could be doing, I want to be doing. I think that I have no doubt the opportunities are there. I don't know. I'm not going to like pinpoint them and box them up. I'm going to stay open to the endless possibilities of it and see what happens when that moves out of the way of the sun, right? What kind of light comes to place, what kind of things I see, what kind of opportunities come. Been getting so much love and respect from fellow, not just fighters, but, you know, fans. And it's been overwhelming support and love, and you guys too. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. What everybody said about me has been really amazing. It's just overwhelming support. So I'm just grateful right now and moving one day at a time, feeling all the emotions of, there's a little bit of, you know, when you like, if somebody passes away in your life, it kind of feels like that. It's just mourning. But at the same time, there's a lot of joy that comes, you know, because a lot of the things that you know, when I read certain things, one of the things I've heard is, you know, mourning is really just masked joy, because when you're mourning, you're actually remembering all the things that were great and amazing. Yeah. It's not actually really sad. It's almost like joy. That is the mourning itself. And so I'm kind of looking at it that way too, because I'm just sad that I can't go do it again, when really I'm sad that how much I loved it. It just shows how much of my heart it is. And that's a special thing. Not a lot of people ever get to love something that much. So I'm grateful for that too.
Tell you what, Dom, listening to you speak there, when you start this Cruise With Me podcast, all of my subscribers and all our believers and followers better not piss off and listen to you, because you speak so eloquently and you're really setting the tale there and setting the scene. It's beautiful. Whenever you stop a fighting career, you know, fighters, when they've got it's terrifying, you know, because you do think, what is next? You know, but you still, what are you, 37, 38?
I'll be 40 March 9th.
40 in March. That's still only at the midpoint of life, you know, and it's like you've got a whole other career. But it's hard when we're fighting, because you got to have the blinkers on. It's got to be, you know, single-minded approach to this one thing. Otherwise, you're not going to get the success that either of us got. You've got to be all in. But there is a whole other life out there. I was terrified. That's why I continued fighting when I was still injured and the eye issues and all the rest of it. But when you allow yourself to step away, you realize, hold on, there is other things out there. There is other things I can accomplish. And certainly somebody like yourself that's articulate, that's a smart, that has the legendary career, the following, the coaching roles that you could have, the podcast, the analytic work, the commentary. I mean, you're going to be a very, very busy man. So congrats. If you had to pick one fight, the one highlight of your career, what was the best one? I think I'm gonna guess. Paul, what's your guess? I'm going to go when you come back and beat TJ Dillashaw. Paul, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that's got to be up there when everyone doubted you. And I actually fought on that card with Dom, and we shared a rice cake with honey on it on the bus ride after the weigh-ins, Dom. I'll never forget that. I was sitting across from you, and at the time I was looking at you still like, oh, man, you know, like I watched WEC. This guy's fighting for belts, and I'm sitting right next to him on the bus. I was early on the prelims, and without even hesitation, he starts snacking on a rice cake because he just got done weigh-ins and we're refueling on the bus. And sure as shit, he reaches over and shares it with this guy that he doesn't know from anybody, and had a little chat and ate some rice cakes with Dom. So that one always sticks out to me because I got to share that one, and then be in the back room and rooting hard for Dom on that night because of that moment.
Well, I was always a fan of your Muay Thai because your fights, you just laid it all out. You were one of those guys who fought like to the death type of style. So I was a fan. So you weren't nobody to me, bro. Trust me. So it was my pleasure to share that moment. And yeah, I would agree with Bisping. You know, it's a mixture. If I'll be honest, it's hard to say this, but it really is like anytime I beat anybody from Alpha Male, it felt like.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say Uriah.
Like any of them, like Benavidez, I fought twice. Ian McCall was alpha male. Charlie Valencia was alpha male. Uriah Faber was alpha male. TJ Dillashaw was alpha male. Cody Garbrandt was alpha male. All these guys, he kept shooting them at me. And I knew, I felt like they were just after me, and it was me versus them for so many years that anytime I would always say to myself, why join him if you could beat him? And that was like my mentality with that team, because they were the best team. They made me what I was to an extent because the rivalry was so heavy. I just had to do everything. They were so good, all of them. At this time, they were the best little guy team there was when I was fighting, other than what I was doing in my team at Alliance. So any of those guys was a cherry on top to beat them because of how good they were and how competitive they were. But yeah, TJ Dillashaw was number one because he was so arrogant, like beyond arrogant. And it drove me crazy because it's just like, hey, I'm as tough. I'm a champion too, and I don't act like a dork like you. And it just pissed me off. So I had to win that. And after the layoff and listening to all the media, I'm telling you, I had no chance if you ask media. So I'll never forget, hey, media, don't forget that you drew the line for yourself behind the camera. It wasn't real. I'm going to take you back and remind you, you didn't know shit.
Yeah. And the media often gets it wrong. Dana White had a problem with the Australian media. We're going to get to that a little bit later. Yeah. All right, this episode is sponsored by Hims. Are you getting a little bald on top? Are you follically challenged? Are you blinding people with the reflection of your sun from the top of your dome? If you're going a little thin on top, you don't have to jump on a plane to Turkey to get the hair transplants, okay? No, you just need Hims. It's as simple as that. It will regrow your hair. It will make you fuller, more attractive, more vibrant, more attractive to the opposite sex. You'll be going down the barbers every few weeks because the hair will be out of control. Of course, I'm going a little bit silly there, but Hims will provide you with convenient and quality access to a range of hair loss treatments that actually work from the comfort of your couch. Hims makes treating hair loss simple with doctor-trusted options and clinically proven ingredients like finasteride and minoxidil that can regrow your hair in as little as 3 to 6 months. Choose from personalized chewable, oral spray, and serum treatments to find what works best for you. The process is simple and 100% online and no uncomfortable doctor visits. Answer a few questions and a medical provider will determine if treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your treatment is sent directly to you for free. No insurance needed. One low price covers everything from treatments to the ongoing care. Hims has hundreds of thousands of trusted subscribers and they can help you get your confidence back with visibly thicker and fuller hair. So start your free online visit today at hims.com/believe. That is HIMS, hims.com/believe for your personalized hair loss treatment options. Hims.com/believe. Results vary based on studies of topical and oral minoxidil and finasteride. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. We've got to stop this little circle jerk here because this is not what people expect from us. Okay, three tough guys. Me and you are always arguing. We're all sitting there jerking each other off and saying, "You're the best. You're incredible. This was great." Sharing rice cakes on a bus. Let's get back to the bullshit. Hey, honestly, on behalf
With
of
honey
everyone,
on it.
I think I speak for everyone. Seriously, Dominic, be proud of yourself. Just an incredible career. I want to ask if you've still got a few more minutes. Dricus du Plessis, Sean Strickland at the weekend. We got to get into this stuff. And yeah, I'd love to get your thoughts on that fight before we let you go.
Yeah, the Sean Strickland DDP fight was awesome. I think for my analytical approach to it, I think, you see what everybody's. One of the main things I'm seeing about DDP is he's winning again, and everybody goes, "I don't know how he ever wins." It looks so ugly, and then they've got this whole clip of him looking bad in these fights, and it's like, man, if I had a penny for every time somebody said that about me, I'd be rich. And when I watch him, what makes him so tough is not just the offense and the strength, his power, but also he's off balancing his opponent the whole fight. And Sean Strickland is one of the best balanced fighters in the division, and he was not on balance for any of that fight. He was on his back foot trying to figure out where he's going. Duplessis would crash into him so much with just like headbutts to his chest and his hips, and those are shot attempts. And those are things that I really pride myself on, that you don't need to complete the shot. You just need to attempt it and attack and hit them hard to create a break in rhythm and to off balance. And I think DDP does that better than anybody right now, obviously, because he keeps winning. And I think that's what people are missing, is the way he takes away your balance with the mixture of attacks. His left high kick is epic. The way he kept landing that is not on accident. It's got like a question mark touch to it, and then sometimes it comes straight up, and he sets it up by blasting the liver the entire fight. And the stance switch hides it as well. These are all very sneaky tactics that he uses that people aren't giving credit to, and he's used them in the last 3 fights consistently. These are his habits, and people aren't quite adjusting. So I tip my hat to him, because Strickland is not an easy guy to beat. That's the other thing you keep hearing. Strickland's not who he says he is. He didn't go to the death. I disagree. I think, when you see this dude's nose explode before the fight's over and he keeps fighting, I think that people underestimate the level of pain that actually is, and how much it throws you off. I mean, it takes me back to the Justin Gaethje versus Holloway fight. Justin Gaethje is easily one of the toughest guys in the whole planet. Everybody knows it, and that threw him off. Felder, you've broken your arm in the middle of a fight. People I've broken my hands in the middle of fights. I don't think people at home really give dividend to Strickland for the toughness that he showed against him twice. And in these fights, it wasn't easy to do what he did. Now, people are going to bash him because he talks heavy. So that's what that's more about, I feel like. But, you know, I tip my hat to both guys. It was a very technical battle. But DDP just, I think those are the things that people are missing from when I watch it. And full credit.
And there he
Dom,
is,
do you-
one of the best
do you-
analysts. Oh, go on, Paul. Sorry, mate.
No, yeah, I was just going to say, do you think DDP, with the style that he brings and the way that he is just riding confidence right now, if it's Hamzat next and everyone's so high on Hamzat, what do you think about that matchup real quick? I mean, DDP seems to not be afraid of that matchup whatsoever. And he says that he even thinks that he can match him in the wrestling. And I don't know, man, he's so functionally awkward. Let's call it that, functionally awkward, because it is so strategic in his own way. You know what I mean? Similar to how you talk about your footwork, where you talked about people saying, oh, he's not doing anything right. It's like, no, he's doing it his way that works for him. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's how I see it. He's working things his way that works for him. And you got to start paying attention instead of bashing. Like, instead of like saying, hey, this doesn't work, it looks like shit. It's like, what's he doing right? Why is it keep working? There's something there. And like I said, it's the balance thing, him breaking his opponent's balance. And don't forget, he has like over 30, almost, I think 26 pro kickboxing fights. I think he was like 26-1 or something like that. I don't remember his exact record, but way over a winning record in pure kickboxing with no grappling. Now, if we match up the Khamzat, like you're saying, the intangibles are that Khamzat's coming up, and DDP is a true 205er, 85er, right? Like, he's just giant for the weight. And I think he would have the size to make the fight very speculative on the grappling for Khamzat because of the size. Now, if he was like exactly the same size, then Khamzat would just be a steamroll like everybody else. Because he's got that size, you know, that's why we cut weight. For anybody at home that doesn't understand, that little bit of advantage of having a little bit more size, it truly makes an enormous difference in the grappling. 10 pounds from 135 to 145, that's all the weight class is. 125 to 135, that 10 pounds changes everything. I basically created the 125-pound division because they're like, all right, we're going to have to move these guys down. They're not quite strong enough with the grappling. That's what I could see DDP doing to Khamzat as well. Stuff in the grappling because of the size, being able to keep it a sprawl and brawl, Chuck Liddell style fight with his own style, right? What I mean by Chuck Liddell is Chuck Liddell just stuffed the takedowns and kept it standing and looked for the knockout all the time. So I could see him doing that. But also, why this fight is being talked about is because you could see Khamzat doing what he's done to everybody too. How much weight can he actually put on? Like, how big can he actually get? Have we seen that? And he looked better in his last fight than he's looked in any of his past fights. So he's still improving. And I think that the layoff that Khamzat has had in between fights, I think people also underestimate that. Like I said, I don't believe ring rust exists if you train right. And I believe he trains super duper hard, and that's why he's hurt a lot. But it's also why I think ring rust wouldn't exist for him if he gets in there, because he's going to test himself to the bitter end. And that keeps him hidden as well. The layoff, a year, 6 months, 8 months not fighting. That's like, if I go back and try to watch film, I don't know what I'm watching anymore because it's been 8 months to a year. So you just have no idea. Is he better? Is he worse? Did he fill gaps? Did he not? That's also an intangible for Khamzat. So all these different things make it a very fun, fascinating fight. I would also love to see Pereira. He's just the man. Yeah. The thing that I love most about Pereira, number one, is he got knocked out by Izzy and then went on this crazy streak like it didn't even faze him. That was absolutely inspirational to me, how he's been carrying himself after that knockout. Like, that's one of the hardest things you look at the history on average of anybody who gets knocked out and what their record looks like after. Not very many people look like Pereira. He's also doing the things that people would say are impossible. So I would love to see that fight as well. DDP and Pereira is epic. Better than John Jones Pereira, in my opinion.
Well, you have done the impossible time after time after time, Dom. And I truly mean that. So we'll have to let you go. The Cruise With Me podcast, when does that kick off?
I'll be getting it going within the next month. This month, I'm still, dialing everything in. I don't want to say until
All
it's
right.
ready.
Well, if you want a cocky Englishman to jump
you're
on
coming,
any
bro.
time,
You're on. You better
just give me a
Who's my
shout,
first
buddy.
guest is the question. It might have to be my guy Bisping. That might be the number one guy. Who knows?
Let's go. Let's go. Right, Dom, I know you've got a ton of interviews to do. Congrats on an incredible career. And don't you worry. I'll be seeing that you will fight soon, and I will be. We won't be circle jerking anymore. We'll be going back to talk shit and pissing each other off.
It's fun,
Dom,
man. Love working with you guys. Love you guys. Thanks
take care. Take care, buddy.
Thanks, man. Congrats, dude.